If you struggle with achieving a flawless finish after your makeup application, then you might want to watch this mini tutorial to the end. Always apply foundation with a brush to reduce the amount of foundation I use and to evenly distribute the product all over our skin. Then after that, I go in with my beauty blender to press the foundation into our skin. Next is to apply contour. I am using a cream contour for this. Using my beauty blender, I am pressing it on the side of her cheekbone, trying to put a shadow cast on both of her cheekbone. As you can see, the tone of this contour is cool, so I'm not going to distribute it all over her cheek, just under her cheekbone for more depth. Next is to apply cream blush. So for blush, I'm going to be using my foundation brush to do that. So first thing to do is to place the blush where I want them to be. That is on top of her cheekbone. So I'll place the blush first before going in with the beauty blender to distribute it evenly and to blend it perfectly. Vivian is a returning client, so I know perfectly well that she does not want too much on her skin. So reason why I am not using too much cream blush on her skin, because I'm also going to be using a powder blush, so there's no need for too much cream blush. Then next is concealer. After placing the concealer on where I wanted them to be, I decided to use a brush to distribute it first evenly on her skin. The reason why I'm using brush first is because I don't want to go over the stress of using beauty blender first on her skin. I wanted to use the brush to place them exactly where I want them to be before going ahead to blend it more with a beauty blender. I think that is what I've been doing lately, using brushes first before using beauty blender. I noticed that it is easier for me to blend out when it comes to using my beauty blender, and it reduces time and stress. I think the only time I get to regret this decision is when it comes to washing my brushes, because then I have more brushes to wash. And to be sincere, washing brushes is the hardest part for me when it comes to makeup. I went ahead to set and bake her face off camera. Then now I'm applying my blush, powder blush, on the highest part of her face where I'd already applied her cream blush before. Now I'm not using too much pink on her face because she's going to be wearing a burgundy dress. So I don't want to apply too much pink on her face, because using pink on a burgundy is going to contrast her dress for me, the color of her dress for me. I don't want that. I want her dress to have a little bit of shine too during her photo session, while her makeup complements her outfit, not overshadow her outfit. That is just what I aim for when it comes to photo shoot session. I want my client makeup to complement their outfit, not overshadow or contrast the outfit. Do you get? There should be a balance. Moving forward to our eyeshadow application. So I'm using a light brown shade from my midi brown palette from Annie's Beauty. So I'm going to be using this brown shade to contour our lids first. Using the same brush, I'll be using a darker brown to contour the outer corner of our lids, placing and blending it in a lifting motion. So after I've done that, I'll go in with a concealer on our eyelid. Then I'll be using this soft brown nude color from the Happy Bride eyeshadow palette, which is also one of Annie's Beauty eyeshadow palette collection. So I'll be distributing it only on the eyelid. I will apply and blend out to remove any harsh line. Do you get? Then I'll be applying this shade called Vintage from the Meet the Browns Annie Beauty eyeshadow collection on a transition color. Like, I'll blend it on a crease for more colors. I'm actually doing it just to, add more colors to our face, but also keep it safe. Then I'm using this brown under her eyes. The reason why I'm using this eyeshadow to cover her face was because I was trying to reduce the effect of my light on her eyes since she was going to be looking up. Using my Q-tips that I had already soaked in a micellar water to clean her lashes. This is what I always do this when my client comes in for their session with extensions, because after you must have applied all your powder and your eyeshadow, you would always have fallout on our lashes. that would stain her lashes. So I always make sure I clean their lashes with micellar water since I can't use mascara to do that. After I was done with her eyes, I went ahead to apply her lipstick. So I wanted to, match her lip color to her eyes. Remember, she was going to be wearing a burgundy dress. So I felt like this shade of lipstick was going to go well with her dress. So I think I lined her lips with my code lip liner, of course. Then I blended the liners with a mixture of dark red and brown before using this light shade of pink from Pro on the middle of her lips. So I think it came out, the color combo and the mixture I did, because honestly, when it comes to lips, I don't really used to know what I do. I just mix things to get a very good result. If I'm cool with the result, then fine. Here is Vivian's finished look. She looked so beautiful, like her makeup So if you stay to the end of this video, I am hoping you learned one or two and this video was very impactful to you and your craft. So thank you for watching. Till next time, bye.